Hey guys, welcome back to a very long and overdue installment of Heroic Tutorials with Drakenfels. I have to seriously apologize for my hiatus, but we're back at it again, me and my video editor, Red Revo. Today we are going to be bringing you Chapter 3, the K2, where we are going to be taking the center cap, and depending on how the mission flows, we will be helping left and or right side. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. Alright guys, so from the very beginning, we're going to start pushing out here. Be advised, as you're pushing out on this point, there can be enemies spawning from the left and from the right. This time around, it happens to be from the left, where me and Absolute are going to engage one of the three vehicles in the first wave that go for the central cap. So we knock him out. I turn around and I start moving in. Now I could have proceeded forward and gone between those two buildings, but there's a Sphinx coming this way, so I missed unfortunately on that shot. Get him on the second. I don't know why I didn't finish him off on that shot, but I put one into the PLO1, probably because he was in the cap, and I guess I wanted to reset the cap. But I get in there, I start body blocking. Now I'm in the reload. Looks like there's another shell. There's another shell. Yeah, I was in the process of a reload. So that's the first wave of 3 done. There's going to be a second wave coming, and here it comes right now. Right now I'm just going to be biding my time and playing with my food here. That way Absolute, Recon, and Frodo to the southwest can get into position for what they're going to need to do. And so is that Forest and Powered to the north can get into position. Both tanks are getting into hides. Both T-15s are getting set up to ambush artillery. So I'm just sitting here waiting for my reloads, waiting for them to tell me, okay, we're good. I'm going to be dispatching the Sphinx next. I do believe I roll off the cap because I don't have a clean shot on him. Yep, here I go. 1 shell, 2 shell, 3 shell, and he's dead. Roll up, prevent the PLO1 from capping, cycle a fresh reload. Looks like the south is prepped. It looks like Powered is almost up to the north and ready. I got 6 seconds left on the central cap. I am going to dispatch this PLO1. Now from this position, I could either go north, east, and go up that road and help them out, or I could go southwest and follow the road on, I do believe, the I line and help out the southwest. But I proceed to go north. I'm going to use the K2's very excellent hydropneumatic suspension, and I'm going to post up in these trees right here. I'm going to dip my nose down, and I'm going to get great gun depression and lay some hate into some Sphinxes, some PLO1s. I do believe a couple of T-15s come in. While I'm doing that, that relieves a little bit of pressure from Powered to help protect Forest. And allows him to focus down the helicopters as they come. Now, granted, there's no helicopters right now, so as you can see, he is dumping some hate missiles into the enemy. Now, that was one wave finished. We're getting ready for the second wave. You can't hear it, unfortunately, in the replay, but every time you hear crosstalk between the AI characters, that's when helicopters come. So that's when your T-15s need to be paying attention. But if anybody hears that, you call out choppers, because sometimes people don't have AI voice chat turned on. So it's kind of hard sometimes to actually know exactly when the helicopters are coming. But if anybody in your team hears the talk between Magnus, as you can see, he's on the screen right now, and as you can see, there you go, the helicopters just popped up. If you see them on your screen, and you don't have the AI talking. That's them talking. There's nothing on the cap. The helicopters are down, so I figured I have nothing else better to shoot, so I started shooting at the T-15. I'm sorry, the C-130. I'm over here backing up Forest, so Powered also was dumping into the C-130. But I think these guys have got it pretty well situated over here, and I wanted to take a peek up north, to the west. So I head out over to the west to see how they're doing. And it's a good way to show you a little bit of where they're set up. You can't really see the rock in all of that chaos, but Absolute is hiding behind that big rock right there. And as we scroll over, hopefully here shortly, my cameraman will do so, we are going to see my favorite position to hide when playing the T-15 on this spot. There's a nice big crater that's just big enough for you to get your T-15 in, and it'll just hold you just right in there. Hide your lower plate, and now with the new upgrades that they did, where the T-15, that little box that your turret sits on, is now no longer considered a crew penetrating hit area and only does minimum damage. There's that crater right there. Now you can sustain minimum damage doing that position. Now the enemy on that cap is pretty much dead. The enemies on the other cap that I just left are pretty much dead, so I am moving to a position that my battalion has dubbed Trapdoor Spider. It's also a very good position for vehicles like the K2. It's a massive crater that sits inside the cap, and I'm literally going to be there like a Trapdoor Spider. I'm going to be sitting in a hole waiting for the enemies to come in. There you go. You just saw me jump into the crater. And all you're going to see me do is use my gun elevation and my gun depression matched up with my hydropneumatic suspension to relatively keep myself safe while engaging enemies. The T-15s are still moving into position, so the tanks are kind of hitting helicopters. Power just dispatched the helicopter off to the left, or the right, and that last center helicopter. At this point in the mission, there you go, there's Trapdoor Spider right there, real nice. At this point in the mission, the tanks are going to come up here. Fars is behind a nice berm that he can always fall behind, and the vehicles that are coming up that hill won't be able to get his lower plate. And going over to do so would expose their rears to me. And Absolute in the act, he was a little farther back, nestled up behind a rock, as you can see him shooting over Forest. So our job right now is to hold this cap. The tanks are typically taking down the ground units. We have a 15 to our back left that you can't currently see, and we have a 15 off to the right that you can't currently see. And they are engaging the helicopters for us. Those helicopters are extremely dangerous. They can and will track you with one shot and just wreck you. Think of them like the pillboxes in Chapter 1 that you've seen. And there's also the same type of pillboxes in Chapter 4. But they can end your existence very quickly. I've seen them one-shot a full health ADTU. So they're very dangerous. A little bit easy to avoid if you're paying attention. If you are on the move, the missiles aren't smart fires. They're not lock-on. They're going to be fired at the position that you were at when they fired. So as long as you're even slightly on the move, or maybe even doing donuts, those missiles will probably never hit you. Now, we have 8 seconds left on this cap, and after that, the show's over. The only way after that to lose is everybody dies, or you don't gun down that C-130 in the time remaining. And for us, that's 5 minutes and 24 seconds. And we have 2 T-15s up. Now, granted, guys, keep in mind, this was prior to the latest update. So, in this video, our T-15s do not have the overheat mechanic on their autocannons. But, still, the T-15s still pack plenty of firepower to bring down that AC-130. If anything, run your guns hot till they overheat, and then switch to your missiles, dump your missiles, and by the time you go back to your autocannon, your barrel's going to be cool enough to re-engage. So, since we're just doing a city strafe and watching the carnage that is the T-15s turning that AC-130 into Swiss cheese, let's do a recap on what we do as the center cap MBT. So, you don't have to play the K2. I like the K2 for it, though. Another good choice is an ADDU. Of course, you know, a 490 if you have one. But I'm trying to stick to non-premium vehicles. You take that cap, you can either help the left side south or go to the north. Other than that, your other job is to defend that central cap. And at that point, that's all 3 of the tanks, and then let your T-15s have fun with that AC-130. That is Chapter 3. That is the central cap, and that was the central cap with the K2. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time, good hunting.